Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Joe Palmer begins now.
A Riverside woman charged in relation to the murder of 24-year-old Jake Anderson-Bretner last year has indicated to the court she intends to change her plea. Gemma Elizabeth Clark has previously pleaded not guilty to being an accessory after the fact of murder following the alleged discovery of Mr Anderson-Bretner's torso in bushland near Targa in August. Today she told the Launceston Supreme Court she intends to plead guilty at her next appearance in April. She's also been charged with failing to report the killing of a person. A 45-year-old Launceston woman has been disqualified from driving for 12 months after allegedly crashing into several parked cars while driving 6 times over the legal limit yesterday. Police say the woman was attempting to drive into the Riverside Hotel car park at the time. She was charged at the scene after returning a breath test result of .307. The parked cars were not occupied at the time and no one was injured. Police have charged an 18-year-old man over a fire at Kingston High School on Monday night. The blaze caused an estimated $200,000 damage to a building used for outreach programs. The Kingston man has been charged with 1 count of arson and trespass and is due to appear in court next month. We have more information tonight on controversial drilling operations on Mount Wellington as part of the cable car project. The state government has released documents including this map. Blue markers showing 8 drilling locations on the pinnacle of Mount Wellington. That's on the site of the proposed terminal for a cable car project. The state government has given the go-ahead for the drilling under special legislation to pave the way for the development. The documents confirm the holes will be drilled by equipment like this to be dropped in by helicopter. Holes will be a maximum of 100 millimetres in diameter and must be capped or filled after use. Another 24 boreholes have been approved for other parts of Wellington Park. A new plan to rid the Derwent River of toxic metal contamination has been revealed today. The group behind it putting forward a pitch to remediate the waterway, saying the project would also create economic opportunities.
Hidden under the surface of the Derwent, an environmental disaster lurks. This river said by some to be one of the most polluted, but there's a new plan to try and save it.
We have an opportunity to actually fix this legacy that's in the river and create a massive economic opportunity for Tasmania's economy.
That legacy regarding the industrial contamination of heavy metals like zinc from old practices at smelters.
The only way we can clean up the Derwent is to try, and the first thing we need to do is a systematic sampling program of the Derwent.
Derwent Remediation, a for-profit company, is seeking $50 million from the state government to develop a case for what could turn into a multi-billion-dollar project and stretch for 2 decades.
If we're looking at 25 million cubic metres of sediments and it costs $100 a cubic metre, that's $2.5 billion, and that's the starting point, we think.
While industrial practices have been cleaned up over the decades, the legacy of contamination continues. The opposition is backing discussions to see if there's any merit to today's announcement.
We know that there have been a number of industrial businesses on the banks of the Derwent River. We know there are a lot of legacy issues. We welcome the promotion of any ideas to address that.
The state government says it's aware of the pitch, which contains a number of significant matters for further consideration. Casey Trelaw, 7 Tasmania News.
The state's iconic 10 Days on the Island festival is set to wrap up this weekend. Audiences have a final chance to see creative visions come to life with one interactive experience transporting people back to nature.
Immersing in art, using the whole body. Mount Wellington's misty floor acting as a canvas for this sensory experience. Walking through the bush, they're fed audio through headphones.
Walk into the bush, lie down, and once they're lying down they turn it on, and a mesmeric voice guides them through the process of their body decomposing into the forest floor.
The redness darkens to purple as you pass through the night.
I was very terrified of what nature can do to me when I'm not alive anymore. and to think about everything that then happens to you and your own mortality. It is quite interesting.
First featuring in Launceston's Cataract Gorge and then Cradle Mountain, Bushland has travelled south for this weekend as the 10 Days on the Island festival comes to Hobart.
And I thought it would be an amazing thing to place into different locations around Tasmania. I think it's the perfect way to end the festival. An hour lying in the forest floor up here in the beautiful mountain in the mist. What could be better than this?
The festival's final weekend, also debuting Dance North's latest performance, Dust. The dancers covered in grey and moving around this rotating wall, all set to take audiences on a journey.
So it's highly engaging, the performers are truly extraordinary, and hopefully Hobart audiences take away maybe a sense of agency or collective responsibility, and if not that, just a very engaged piece of performance.
While the festival officially wraps up on Sunday, another breakout event will be held next weekend in the Huon Valley to help support the bushfire-affected communities there. Ruby Kamain, 7 Tasmania News.
Tasmanian-based Antarctic researchers are celebrating a new technological feat with an underwater robot. For the first time, Australian authorities have sent an untethered autonomous vehicle under an ice shelf with the hopes of providing answers about climate problems.
A special launch at Davis Station representing a new frontier in Antarctic exploration. The $5 million Nupiri Muka, a cutting-edge underwater vehicle.
In kind of normal terms, it's a robotic submarine. So it's a large underwater vehicle that has a large number of sensors on it, so it collects all sorts of data about the ocean.
What's special about this? It has independence. After researchers set it a target, it can explore autonomously.
It doesn't require anyone to be in it or control it or operate it. There's no tether, so we can send it really deep into the water, up to 5,000 metres, but it also allows us to send it into really remote areas like beneath ice down in Antarctica.
For the first time, Australian researchers sent an autonomous vehicle under an ice shelf, collecting never-before-seen data, including water temperature, salinity, currents and sonar images, opening up exploration in an area too dangerous for humans.
Ice shelves are difficult environments to research. They're dangerous and crevassed. What we really need is a robotic solution, and an AUV is one way to do this.
It's hoped to unveil more information about ice shelves and could lead to new discoveries about their interaction with climate change. Michael Breen, 7 Tasmania News.
The man you're about to meet is one of Australia's highest achievers and proof anything is possible. Gerard Gosens was born with congenital blindness, but that hasn't stopped him from being a 3-time Paralympian, Ironman and advocate for those living with a disability.
Whether it's dancing the waltz in front of thousands of people on live television, or hitting the track as a Paralympian representing Australia, Gerard Gosens is living proof anything is possible. What's more is he's also a chocolatier and keen adventurer.
For me, being totally blind, I've had the chance to, I suppose, challenge myself to a number of different pursuits, whether it be everything from climbing Everest, running from Cairns to Brisbane 5 times, dancing with the stars, a whole range of challenges throughout my life.
He was in Launceston today encouraging Tasmanian businesses to not overlook hiring people living with a disability.
It's a really tough gig, so employers don't often think about employing with people with disabilities, and people with disabilities often don't think that they can work.
Gerard was also the country's youngest person to have a guide dog. He's now working with Boss, who just loves being out and about.
He's now been working with me now for the last 5 years. It is, again, about teamwork, so we work together, whether it be in the streets of Brisbane or around Australia, as it is with my guide runners, and I have a number of different guide runners in competing in sport.
When he's not travelling as a motivational speaker, he's in training for the 2020 Paralympic Games.
Gerard just reminds us all that people with disabilities have amazing talents and capabilities. Employers need to be a little bit imaginative about where their workers might come from. Put the two together and you've got a formidable business.
Jessica Moran, 7 Tasmania News.
Primary school students across the state use some pedal power to get to school today, jumping on a bike or scooter for a national celebration. Goulburn Primary Street, just one of around 30 Tasmanian schools, getting clued in on how to stay safe on our roads for National Ride to School Day.
If we could get more children riding to school by knowing how to stay safe on the road, that will increase the physical activity levels of our children, which are currently way too low.
The Bicycle Network also using their bike-powered blender to make their annual healthy smoothies. For those with a phobia of spiders, there's new hope for a solution to overcome your fears. A University of Tasmania study is exploring the use of an online system to deliver a treatment, with the goal for arachnophobes to one day feel comfortable in the presence of real spiders.
By completing the treatment, the participants were able to be closer proximity to a real spider, and they also had reductions in spider phobia symptoms.
But if you tremble at the sight of eight-legged critters, the study needs your help. It's seeking volunteers to participate in its free trial of the Fear Drop treatment. A new gin distillery opening its doors in Tasmania is promising big things. Turner Stillhouse today launched its 3 Cuts Gin, which is infused with 3 separate cuts of roses found locally in the Tamar Valley. The warehouse is set to be transformed in the coming months to offer visitors a chance to create their own gin and do a combined spirit and wine tasting experience at the same venue.
We really focused on fresh local lime as well as some fresh roses that we got in the Tamar Valley, which gives our gin a really unique flavor profile. It's super smooth with a bit of rose taste into it, and all around been very well received so far.
The brand is also hoping to be one of the biggest producers in the next 5 years.
Tomorrow's season opener for the Hawks will also mark a Tasmanian draftee's AFL debut. Chase Jones has shared the moment Crows coach Don Pike broke the news he'd be playing in round 1. It's the moment an AFL draftee's dream really comes true. Chase Jones was still a little lost for words when he found out he'd be lining up for the Crows.
Any words? Looking forward to it.
It should come as no surprise.
And he'll run in and kick a goal. There's a 19-year-old out of Tasmania putting his hand up for a spot in round 1.
After a huge pre-season which had the Crows feeling confident about their top 10 pick.
Chase Jones, what a beautiful kick.
So I found out when Pikey, after a meeting, just came up and said, I'd like to catch up, and went into his office and shook my hand and said, you're in, so it's pretty surreal. When he said to have a chat with him, it was sort of a few minutes before I actually went and sat it down with him, so that few minutes was the longest 3 minutes of my life.
The Launceston product will run out in front of a massive home crowd.
To be playing against some of the people that I will be is just amazing.
We're now only a week out from the new NBL 1 season. The Northwest Thunder believes it can go that little bit further in 2019.
We have a lot more size than we did last year, and that's always been a bit of a factor for us in the past, not being able to rebound against, really big teams.
The Thunder's last practice match will be against fellow contender the Hobart Huskies at Ulverston tomorrow night. Trey Armstrong is excited about switching from the Siebel to NBL 1.
It adds a sense of professionalism that maybe it's lacked in the past, and I think it can only be good for the sport, especially in Tasmania, having the NBL tag on it for sure.
New recruits are adding firepower to the side.
We've got Nick Banyard and Jordan Bowling, who are imports from America. They're ballers, they get after it, and they're really good.
And in the NPL, the Hobart Zebras are looking to remain undefeated against Kingborough tomorrow night after clinging to a draw in their last 2 outings.
There's a lot of competition for spots, which only brings out the best in players.
While the Lions have surprised some observers under their new coach, Greg Calvert.
Players have sort of bought into it. Obviously, a number of new players have come on board, just a real positivity, and people are putting in maybe a little bit extra to try and get us up where we want to be.
To cricket, and Tasmania trails by 269 runs at stumps on day 3 of its Sheffield Shield clash against New South Wales. Alex Doolan top scored for the Tigers today with 72 before the side was bowled out for 255. In reply, Gabe Bell claimed the Blues' first 2 wickets in the 23rd over, but 49 runs to Moses Enriques had helped the visitors to 5 for 149 before the final day of Tasmania's Shield season tomorrow. And former Hurricanes and Raw coach Julia Price is taking over the coaching role of the national women's team in the United States. Price guided the Canes to back-to-back semi-finals in the WBBL before being sacked after a lacklustre 2017-18 season. The US team is looking to qualify for next year's 2020 World Cup. And to finish sport tonight, after a winning start to the Australian Offroad Championships, rising motocross star Kyron Bacon says he's well exceeded his own expectations. And there could be more good news on the way, with the Somerset teenager teaming up with a 4-time world champion to reach his full potential. He's quickly becoming the fastest Tassie teenager on 2 wheels. Kyron Bacon turned up the heat on Toowoomba's dusty tracks for the opening round of the Australian Off-Road Championships, topping the timesheets in the EJ class for riders entering the senior ranks.
Top 20 was my goal and yeah, came away with the win both days.
It's a shot of confidence for the 16-year-old and his new mentor, 4-time Enduro GP world champion Matt Phillips, who has taken the young Somerset speed demon under his wing.
Working with him's really good. He's young, fit. You know, he trains hard, works hard, his parents are right behind him.
After spending 5 years living in Italy, Phillips retired from Enduro GP last year. Burnt out, the Wynyard product returned home. But this new partnership has reinvigorated the former champion, even spurring him to jump back on the bike in Toowoomba.
We ended up racing against each other all day, so it really took the pressure off him. Really found my passion for racing again.
The KTM rider will keep tweaking his technique under Phillips' guidance, while his mum and dad are there to help too.
He always cleans my bike for me and gets it ready for races, and same with mum, she always cleaning gear like nearly every night, so yeah, they're definitely a big help.
Kyron Bacon's next round is in New South Wales in a fortnight.
Good evening. Temperatures pushed above average over the north and west today. Launceston again with the warmest, 26 degrees. Hobart 21 and Devonport 24. Cressy and Strawn reached 25. Flinders Island 24. Smithton 23. Lowhead 22. While St Helens, Friendly Beaches, Grove and Ooze all on 20. A moist onshore airstream brought cloud to the east coast today, while convective cloud prevailed elsewhere across the state. Tropical cyclones dominate proceedings over the mainland, while some cloud extends through Western Australia to the Bight and a cold front approaches the west as well. Plenty going on. Tomorrow the cyclones remain in the severe category. A low pressure trough is over Central Australia and a cold front starts its long approach towards Tasmania. That'll be very important by Monday as that low moves our way. The strong east to northeast winds will turn west-northwesterly tomorrow with swells to 3 metres in southern waters. A strong wind warning is on in the west between Low Rocky Point and Stanley. This is how the weekend kicks off. 24 for Hobart with showers developing, a shower or two on the way for Medina, 22 and 21 for Oatlands. Launceston, a shower or two developing, 23 the high, 21 for Devonport with showers, Lyawini showers increasing and 17 the top. 21 the high for Burnie with wet weather, Strawn the same, 23 degrees though, and 21 for Marrawar, the wind picking up as well in the afternoon. A late shower in the east, St Helens 22, 23 for Swansea, Orford 22. UV though still in the high bracket. On Sunday, showers over the west and possibly the north and south as well. On Monday, that deep low will pass to our south, bringing very strong westerly winds, the strongest since November. It will also herald colder weather and up to 20 to 40 millimetres of rainfall over the west and north. Look out for a few warnings. And on Tuesday, a shower over the west and south along with the Bass Strait Islands. Sunny and 27 for both Perth and Adelaide, a morning shower for Melbourne. Possible storms forecast for Canberra, Sydney, Darwin and Broome. Cloudy and 18 in Hobart, Launceston cloudy and 23, Devonport partly cloudy and 20. We need to stress, Joe, that the Bureau have issued more warnings that over Monday we might see some particularly strange weather with lots of wind across the state and also plenty of rain in affected areas. We're going to find that the fire-burnt areas where we've had the fires recently may be susceptible for trees falling down in these strong winds. So warnings will conclude on Monday from the Bureau, so we better keep an eye out for all that.
Yeah, we better. Thank you very much for that, Murph. Well, that's all from the news team for now. Thanks so much for your company. We'll see you throughout the evening, but for now, from all of us here, good night.